right, ladies and gentlemen, let us get started on time, even though I expect some more people may be coming. It is my great pleasure to introduce our speakers, Maria Simaro and Salvatore Attardo, who are going to talk about, well, as everyone can see, different strategies to process multimodal humorous texts. So, okay, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and thank you for the organization of the conference for letting us explain, showing our experiment. So we are talking about, as you say, different strategies to process multimodal humorous text, and we are focusing on Twitter text. Okay. So we can show you a sample of a tweet. We show our subjects. As you can see on the left, you can see the original tweet, and on the right, you can see the recording the eye tracker offered us, where you can see the different guesses our subject made in the order he or she did it, right? So this is the material we work with, right? Okay. So I'm going to explain you the methodology we follow for the experiment. We had 43 native and or proficient speakers of Spanish, being 25 women and 18 men. We obtained different recordings of each of them, and it's important to emphasize that the quality of this recording was ensured by calculating the mean percentage of the guesses collected by the tracker. This mean was 72.67% of the old guesses, with a standard deviation of 24.71. All the recordings which was below this mean were rejected. So finally, we had the 36 recordings, right? Okay. We offer our subjects different stimuli, which was composed by 25 humorous multimodal texts extracted from Twitter that combine an image and a caption. These individual slides were offered to them respecting the original format that Twitter offers. And the procedure consists on, we received these subjects in the eye tracking lab of Texas A&M Commerce. We saw them 27 slides, being 2 of them instructions of the test, and the other 25 the tweets, right? We told them they had no time limit, so when they thought they were done, they could pass to the next slide, pressing the space bar. There was no need of getting the joke, and we told them, and it took about 10 minutes to complete the whole task. To analyze the results we obtained, it's been used in R, right? Okay. Before analyzing the recordings, we define 4 areas of interest. First of them, well, not first, but one of them is the user name, the person who published the tweet. Then we separate the caption of the tweet, in this case in yellow. Then we have the image, obviously, and the other parts, if the subject look out of these three areas of interest, we consider them outside of the tweet. Okay. We decided to observe what was the influence of the different slides between them. So obviously we observed that there was an influence on the previous slide, the guesses of the previous slide on the next slide they saw. You can see here in green, you can see the previous slide, and in red, next slide. So there's a strong correlation, mostly in the x-axis, but there in both, there's a strong correlation, but bigger in the x-axis than in the y-axis. And it's obvious here if you can see the movement of the axis of these we analyze 5% of the data. I think it's obvious, okay? So here we have the same data, but in a different graphic. You see this strong correlation in the x-axis, and this is the y-axis, which is not as strong as the x one, but it's a good one, okay? Okay, here you have in this gray part of the graphic, which is the confidence interval of the graphic. Okay. Okay, so we decided to analyze our results, and we try to prove the null hypothesis. Well, our first hypothesis is that the subjects would look first to either the image of the caption or the caption, which we thought was the main attractor. So we started by testing the null hypothesis, that was that subjects are equally likely to look first at any of the 4 areas of interest. And the results were like this. Here we have the null hypothesis in the first chart, but when we test this null hypothesis, we reject it because there was not what we thought. Not all of the areas of interest received the same attention, right? As you can see, this is the first phase section, then the fixed section, the second, the third, and the fourth, and not all of them received the same amount of gazes. Okay, this is the same data, but in a different chart. Here you can see it in bubbles. As you can see, the size, the bigger the bubble is, the more attention, the more phase sections each areas of interest received, right? So you can see the first one is image, second one is the caption, the third is the user, and the fourth is the out. Okay, so you can see the first is image, which received the biggest number of fixed sections. Okay, okay. So even with these simple visual inspections, it shows that the most first phase sections are directed to images. That's what we thought this morning about in another presentation, and here we have the data, right? So we could make a claim based on this quantity of the first fixed sections. The preference order is first image, then caption, then out, gazes out of these tweets, and then user. But this observation only accounts for the first fixed sections. Okay, so Dr. Attardo will explain you more.
So in order to go beyond this sort of first look, we had to build a more complex model, and that's what we did. So first of all, this is still the same data as before. You have the mean times, but we put in the medians as well, just as a comparison. So you can see that if you look at the medians, the relationship between image and caption flips. So the median of the caption is twice as big, almost twice as big, as the median of the image. So what that tells you is that half of the instances of first fixation on the image occur in less than 300 milliseconds. Okay, that's extremely fast, by the way. Okay, so usually to perceive an incongruity, it takes about 400 milliseconds. So this is even before you can perceive that there is an incongruity. Are you with me so far? So it's extremely fast. Okay. So on contrary, if you look at the caption, it takes twice as long, right? So in other words, if people start looking at the caption, they have to read it. That takes a lot of time, okay? So you can see that really what you decide to look at first is going to determine to a large extent the processing time that it's going to take you to look at the stuff. So as we said, they tend to get to the image fast, but if they start from the caption, then they get to the image much, much later, okay? Because it takes so much longer. So again, this is the same data, but in a different graphic format. So you can see that this is overall duration of fixation, okay? So in other words, regardless of the order that they go to, how long do they stay there? And so you can see that it's clearly they stay there longer for the caption, because they have to read it, okay, than on the image. And the other two, user and outside, are dwarfed by, whoops, what did I just do? How did I manage to do that?
So can you maybe direct it? But it's still here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right. I don't know what I did. I didn't do anything. It's that AI. There you go. Okay. So this takes time. Whoops, sorry. All right. So here. Again, we're still looking at time to first fixation to an area of interest. Okay. So the 1, 2, 3, and 4 is the first area of interest that you go to, then the second area of interest that you go to. It's not first fixation, second fixation. Okay. So it's which area of interest you look first, and then which second area of interest you go to second. Now, the order of the bars is essentially, not essentially, it's alphabetical, right? So there is no reason why, except that C for caption comes first in the alphabet, okay? R does this automatically. You can tell it not to do this, but it requires banging on it with a large hammer for a long time, so we didn't feel like doing that. But I mean, it's nonetheless very clear. On the first fixation, the image is the clear winner, but on the second area of interest, the caption is the clear winner. Okay. So in other words, people tend to go first to the image, then they go to the caption. Okay. And then you can see that the user, which is, remember, the person that sent the tweet, gets the most attention on second fixation. Okay, so on second area of interest, time to fixation. Okay, so this is a significant result. You can see here. We did, a very large logistic regression with linear models. Well, okay, you don't really care about. But it's statistically significant. Okay, that's all you really need to know. Now, this then is the overall model that we did, and we had the help of Philip Hamrick, who's a colleague at Kent State, and he does this kind of stuff for breakfast. So he was quite happy to help us. So here we're contrasting order of fixation, which is on the horizontal axis, with gaze duration. Okay, so how long you look at something correlated with when do you look at it. Okay, and we find some very, very interesting stuff, right? So first of all, you see this red line here, that's the caption, and we find a clear negative correlation of duration to time to fixation. So in other words, if you get to the caption early, you spend a lot of time on it. The later you tend to get to it, the less time you spend on it. Okay, now that is a strong, statistically significant result, and it's very, very clear. I mean, if you know anything about statistics, when you get a nice straight line like that, it's like, woohoo, you open the bottle of champagne or Prosecco if you're Italian. Then if you look at the image, that's the green line, and also the user, you see that it's almost a flat straight line. Basically, there is not much of a change that is regardless of when you get to it, okay? So in other words, whether you get to it around here or around here, you look at it roughly the same amount of time, okay? So that shows how the caption is different, because that's the one that takes time because you have to read it, okay? Again, I think sort of the most obvious thing that we get from this is that it really is qualitatively different how we process the caption from the image and the other elements of the text, of the tweet. And finally, the outside has the least correlation. As you can see, it's not a straight line at all. But again, it doesn't change a lot, except that if you go there, if you start by being outside, it takes a little bit of time to actually get to it. And the way we interpret this result is that they need to, if a user is looking away, they need to orient themselves. So they're going to do probably a ballistic saccade to go towards either the text or the image, and they may miss. So they may end up on something that they don't particularly want to be there anyway. Okay? So in other words, it's not everybody is really good at focusing exactly on what they need to be looking at right off the bat. Now, the other interesting thing is that as you go forward into the experiment, and so look around here, that's the 75th fixation and over. If you go to the right of this point, you are beyond the 75th fixation. Now, you will notice that the confidence interval bars overlap. What that means is that it's unpredictable. Okay? That is, when it's here, we can predict that if you start with the caption, you're going to spend a lot of time with it. It's a very strong result. You see, there is no overlap, right? We can predict that you're going to start with the image, and there's very little overlap with the caption, for example, right? They're pretty dichotomous. But when we get here, they overlap completely. So in other words, towards the end of the processing, it becomes basically random what people are looking at. Okay, and again, this is a significant result. Now, the other thing that's also interesting from this sort of mega chart is that, as you can see here, after the 78th or maybe 80th fixation, there is no more outside, there is no more user, and after maybe the 82nd, 83rd, there is no more user, but you get more image. Okay? Now, what that means is that simply there's no more data. That is, basically, people stopped looking at the outside after that point. But some users kept looking for many, many other fixations at the image. Okay? And again, this is a very strong result. Okay? And also, we had absolutely no idea that this was going to be the case. Okay? Because we're like, wow, all right, that's what they do. Who knew? So anyway, so that's the big overall model. So far, we've looked at the data as a big bucket. But can we look in more detail, right? And that's really where we can expect some more interesting result. And the answer to that is yes, we can, of course, but it's going to take a long time because it's a lot of data. So this is the first 20 fixations. Now, again, this is different, right? Before we were looking at first area of interest fixation, right? This is the first 20 fixations, right? The first fixation, second fixation, third fixation, right? So as you can see, again, we have this, and again, the order of the bars is just alphabetical. So you can see on the first fixation, the clear winner is the image. On the second fixation, still the clear winner, but not by as much. And on the third fixation, now it's the caption that's the clear winner. Fourth fixation, definitely. Fifth fixation. Sixth fixation. Now, if you can really see the interest in the image waning, right? That is, we tend to look at the image first, right? And that's unless you started from the caption, right? So there really are different strategies, hence the title of our paper. I like to explain it. We don't pick titles randomly. There really are different strategies with which the users approach the decoding of the text. Okay. Then the other thing is, if you look here, you see where the user gets the lion's share of the interest. These are the fixations where the most people are looking at the user. And then it goes down. As you can see, by the 20th fixation, it's negligible, the number of people that are looking at the user. Okay? So that's an interesting result as well. That is, we can look at slices of the data and get some interesting things. All right, so conclusions. How much time do I have left?
It's perfect.
Perfect.
Time.
Very good. Very good. We pride ourselves on Swiss timing here. Sorry. I hope there are no Swiss in the audience. To answer the original question of our paper, there are different strategies to process visually a tweet. The hypothesis of the existence of attractors is confirmed, or at least not proven wrong. I read Popper, thank you. So primarily people look at image and caption. These are the things that they focus on. The preferred order of fixation is image, caption, user, and then eventually outside. As we saw this, when the participant starts with the caption, they spend more time on the caption. There's a strong correlation with that. And then there is a significant correlation between the last image fixation of one image and the first image fixation of the next image. Now, this is a very significant result because when you're looking at tweets, you don't look at one tweet, turn off your phone, go home, then turn it back on and look at the next tweet, right? You scroll, right? So what that means is that anybody who looks at tweets, not in isolation, right, is going to have to take this into account, okay? Because, I mean, as I said, the result is really, really significant. Maria did not emphasize this, but we had to write the number in scientific notation because it's 16 zeros, right? So it wouldn't have fit on the line. We had to, but that means it's like incredibly significant. I mean, there's like, you have more likelihood of being hit by lightning than that number being random. So that's an important thing. All right, and then to conclude, what else can we do with this data? Well, lots of stuff, and we've already started doing some work. But one of the things that you can do is go beyond just the order to first fixation and the duration of fixation metrics, because in some cases, what we've noticed is that the user will bounce around. Okay, so when they go to the caption, they tend to just stay there and read it, right? So we say that's sticky, right? You get to the caption, you stick there, you spend a long time on the caption. But in some cases, they will do image, one fixation, go to the caption, and then bounce off the caption and start and look at the image again, and then go back to the caption, right? So we call this bouncy, right? Because we're very clever. So what causes participants to bounce around? Okay, is there any correlation between the bouncing around and maybe the nature of the image? Right? We don't know. We haven't done this study yet, but this is definitely one thing that we are interested in. The next thing is, we plan to look more in the image. Okay. So, for example, you saw in the sample tweet that we showed that the participants looked only at the face. Now, that's an acquired result. We know faces are cognitively salient. If there is an image with a person face, you will look at the face. Okay? But we had another example, which we didn't show, where there is a row of people sitting, and there's one participant in particular that looks literally at all the faces in a row, right? I mean, clearly trying to figure out who are these people. They're the royal family, the British royal family. But, so this participant just scans the row of faces and completely ignores the rest of the image, right? So clearly there are salient parts to the image. Now, what we're interested in, are there humor-specific salient parts of the image, right? Because, yes, we know that people look at faces, thank you very much. But are there humorous parts that are more salient? We don't know, but we plan to look at that. And then finally, another thing that we want to look at is if there are differences in correlation between specific aspects of the visual input, such as, for example, we said, long fixations, long duration of fixation on the caption. But what if the caption is short as opposed to long? Okay, so obviously we expect a correlation, but maybe you also get a correlation in time to first fixation. Maybe if the caption is short, more people decide to read the caption first, right? We don't know if that's the case, and we have the data to check on that, and we will do that. And then the other thing is, some images are busy, so you have lots of things in the image, and some images are more sparse. There's maybe just like woods, right? And so it's kind of a non-differentiated background. So maybe people process these kinds of images differently when it comes to humor, right? And so we want to see if that's going to make a difference as well. And we started doing some work using pupillometry, which is the eye tracker measures as a side effect of measuring where you're looking at, how big your pupil is when you're doing that. So we're doing a study to see where is the widest dilation of the pupil, because that tells us that cognitively that's the thing that the user is most excited by, right? So, we assume then that that's where the humor lies. Maybe. We haven't tested that yet. All right, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that most interesting speech. And there is some time for questions.
Very interesting work. Have you considered comparing the eye tracking movements of multimedia tweets that are meant to be funny and ones that are just, here's my new shoes, or here's the latest logo from this political party?
No, we just went with 25 tweets that were funny, although we didn't guarantee that the users thought they were funny. So that's a confounding factor. But yes, obviously that would be, the next step would be to check whether, if it's a serious tweet, they do the same thing, and quite possibly they might.
And also some linguistic analysis of the text. So if there are pronouns in the text that are referring to the image, then you expect the eye to pop back and forth, or sometimes.
That's a good idea. Let's make a note of that. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it. Thank you. My first idea was, let's count the words in the caption and see whether there is a correlation between length in words and duration. But that's a very good idea.
The other thing you could do is take a really, really complex pun. Those that even a native speaker has to think about. I can't think of one at the moment, but there are some that you think, and you have to think about it, which would be even more complicated if it's attached to an image. And then see what they're doing. Well, there's puns that work on syntax and on lexical ambiguity attached to an image.
Right. That's a good idea, because we know from studies on eye tracking just on reading text that people literally backtrack to the ambiguous word and spend a long time there and so on. But it'd be interesting if the image is part of the resolution, like Parker was saying this morning. It'd be very interesting to see if people go look at the image again to say, wait a second, what's going on here? So yeah.
Also, I was curious, what about these tweets in which the image also has text, like for example bubbles with text and
Yes.
to be talking to each other and meant to be heard?
Right, yeah, that's something that we have not differentiated yet, and we do have a few with that. Right, yes, and that's sort of secondary text, yeah.
Basically, you made them look at the picture to text at the tweet immediately, right?
Yes. Well, what do you mean immediately?
I mean, they just looked at it. They looked at a previous exposure to social media part-time.
Well, we assume that they were familiar with Twitter.
No, my point is, if you make them look immediately, their dopamine peak will be much stronger. So for the first 5-10 minutes of users, they will much more.
Oh, you're saying there was an habituation effect?
Yes.
So far, not that we could detect like this, but we haven't specifically looked for that. But remember, we were not measuring enjoyment. We were just measuring where they looked. So now it is possible that, for example, the number of out increases towards the end of the experiment. But so far that hasn't shown in the regression. But as I said, we haven't looked for that kind of artifact. I doubt it, because 25 is not that long. I mean, it took less than 10 minutes to finish. So probably too soon for habituation. But again, it's an empirical question, and we have not specifically looked for that. Yes. Correct.
So the user's not going to be scrolling.
Right.
So it would be really interesting if you could combine.
Yes, and we can. We have the technology to do it. The problem is that it makes the data collection 10 times more complicated. So, it's like so. What would make more sense is to do this study first, and then do like one user with the scrolling on the phone and using glasses and whatever, because right, it's feasible. It's feasible, but it requires. I mean, already, poor Maria worked for a month to collect the data, working every day.
So surely, I'm sorry to interrupt. Surely there are many variations, and it's really interesting how this experiment can inspire further research. So,
we're out of time.
Yes.
Right.
So, I would like to thank our speakers very much.
But thank you. Okay, that's it. Now, yes. Now.
Okay, thank you very much, Carmen, for this inspirational talk.
Well, I hope you're not mocking the inspiration.
I'm not mocking. We have 4 or 5 minutes for questions over there.
Okay. It's okay. I will use this one now.
No? Sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. I was going to ask exactly the same in the previous presentation. When you had all this material, did you already have in your head a structure, or you expected some result? So as to say, I mean, was there any kind of categorization that you had already foreseen so that you could be surprised, or whether your hypothesis would be confirmed? Because sometimes, I suffer from that problem. I am trying to categorize sort of expectations when interpreters have to interpret humor, and I am suffering terribly because I cannot grasp any. There is nothing I can hold on to because there are no categories, as for example is happening in audiovisual translation or Cantor translation. But were there some expectations, so as how each and every one of these data were going to translate into the responses of the people that you ask these questions?
It's very...
But do you... Sorry, maybe
okay.
I did not explain myself.
In a nutshell, I didn't expect anything at all. So, for example, I really liked the one of, hey there, I'm not using WhatsApp. I thought that was really witty. And it was playing with the with the automatically generated status. But then all the participants who replied, or a very big percentage, didn't really like it. And the person who posted that one was really disappointed too. And his comment was, but I thought it was so funny. I thought it was hilarious. So, well, no, I'm sorry to tell you, they don't like it, So, no, and I just wanted to post those which were playing with incongruity, So I thought, if they're using the strategies which are typically used for humor, maybe they're not trying to be funny. Maybe they're just trying to show themselves as creative, witty, like the one of criando and creando. That's not funny to me, but it's witty. It's a very intelligent play on words by a new mother, you see. So that's the categorization I followed, to know whether they were humorous or not. And in these 8 cases, I had the opportunity to talk to the people who posted it. And they told me, yes, I intended it to be funny. That's a big problem in pragmatics. We never know the locutionary force, except if you talk to the speaker.
And even then.
Sorry?
And even then.
And even then, they might think they are being polite and they're not. So it's always that problem. And for the other categorization, it was content-based. So I just read all of them, and I classified them accordingly. Yes. Yes. Yes.
A very short question.
Yes.
Answer, please. Yeah.
Thank you.
I was just wondering, with the questionnaire you used, so you just asked the people.
See if I can show you now.
How they found it, the different.
Oh, here it is. That's a questionnaire. So it had 2 parts. And the first part was demographic data, of course. And then the second part, they had that. They had the status, and they had these 5 reactions. It makes me smile, laughing out loud. I don't feel anything. I don't get it. Infelicitous. And, oh my God, seriously? So they were just selecting.
Okay.
And,
I was just wondering about the difference between recognizing a humorous intention and appreciating the humor. And it seems to me that what you did with your questionnaire, you just got data for the humor appreciation.
Yes.
But you can't be sure whether the recipients actually thought that the producer of the status intended to be humorous.
Oh, no. I told them they were, okay, they were humorous statuses, so they knew the user was intending to be humorous. And I said, what reaction, and be honest. What's the reaction they trigger on you? And they were pretty honest. Some of them, they have this other category, and some of them were really vulgar there. And they wrote bollocks and things like that, which I categorized as infelicitous. Okay. But not very many, actually, wrote something there. Yeah. I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, let's continue with this panel on WhatsApp. Now we have Agnese San Pietro, who's going to talk to us about humor and emoji. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for coming. I am Agnese San Pietro from the University Jaume I here in Spain. I'm working on emoji, and I also work on WhatsApp, so we are still interested in this popular application. So my interest is on emojis. I know that probably you are familiar about emojis, that probably in a panel on digital discourse I shouldn't define them, but just to be clear, emoji are little pictographs, little images that are included in many settings, digital settings, such as emails, instant messaging, social networks that are widespread in digital communication. I define emoji because I distinguish them from emoticons, which are the sequences of punctuation marks that represent more or less a facial expression, but they are linked. The emoji and the emoticon are linked because emoji now are increasingly replacing textual or typographical emoticons, and also because more or less there is an evolution from emoticons to emoji. What we consider the first digital emoticons was typed in a forum at Carnegie Mellon University in 1982. And around the same time, around the same year, also in Japan, other kinds of typographic faces called kaomoji were also very popular in mobile communication in Japan. The difference is that emoticons are inverted at 90 degrees and kaomoji not. And then in Japan is where the very first emoji set was designed in the 90s. And around 10 years later, the major operating systems worldwide integrated emoji. And then the success of emoji began. The success is clear, not only because in 2015, Face with Tears of Joy was chosen Word of the Year by Oxford Dictionary, so even if it's not a word, but it was chosen as a word, but also because they are very widespread in digital communication. Around 90% of Instagram posts have emoji. Around 5 million emoji are sent daily on Facebook Messenger alone. So there are very clear feature of current digital communication. What's the relationship between this and humor? We usually think that emoticons, kaomoji, and emoji represent emotions, so they are a way to express nonverbal cues in writing. But the relation between emoticons, emoji, and humor is really strict, because the very first emoticon was a humor marker. It was typed, as I said, in 1982 in a forum of Carnegie Mellon University. There was people were joking about what would happen if there were pigeons and mercury in the lift of the institution. And when the people read about mercury, they were very worried about it, and people were really concerned. They didn't get that this was a joke. So Scott Fallman, the inventor of emoticons, proposed the sequence of 2 points, a dash and a parenthesis to mark jokes, messages that contain jokes. The problem of signaling jokes is not the problem only of digital communication. It was also a problem in writing. In fact, in the history of typography, there were frequently proposals to add new punctuation marks to make clear different non-literal meanings, such as irony or rhetorical questions or humor, sarcasm. And so it's not something new. Even I recently read that a sarc mark, as a mark of sarcasm, was even patented, and it is sold for less than $2 for non-commercial use. So if you want to work with sarcasm, you can buy the sarc mark, which is trademarked. But what is really popular in computer-mediated communication, in digital communication, were first emoticons, and they have, since the very first emoticon used to mark humor, now emoticons and emoji have several functions, several pragmatic functions. And also emoji are used to mark humor and to represent laughter. So this was I was really interested in that, because I know there is research on humor markers, research on humor on emoticons as humor markers, but not too much research about emoji and the relationship between emoji and a humor marker. As far as I know, there is a paper recently published by Koenig in the Journal of Pragmatics, which distinguish on one hand between the interjection ha 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 and the use of emoji, if there is a difference in computer-mediated communication. And on the other hand, she distinguishes between the use of two emojis, face with tears of joy, the emoji which is laughing and crying at the same time, and one of the emoji with the tongue sticking out. And she found that they were used differently. The emoji with face with tears of joy to indicate laughing with, so to share laughter, while the other emoji, the sticking out tongue emoji, were most used to laugh at, so for teasing. But I was interested in the use of emoji in everyday computer-mediated communication, which is my field of research, but I was concretely interested in the use of emoji at other stages of humor, not only as humor markers. So, but also, as Koenig indicated, as laughter, so as a reaction to humor. And knowing that there are many, many, many emoji, when I retrieved my corpus, there were 700 emojis, and now there are more than 3,000. I was also interested to know if there are specific emojis are associated with humor, and not only the two faces Koenig analyzed. I was working with a corpus of WhatsApp chats between dyadic chats, so between two people. Informants were it was an example of everyday conversation, everyday talk, which is a fertile ground for humor, because informants were friends, family members, among them colleagues, etc. I retrieved the chats, transcribing screenshots or using the entire log of the chat if they sent me per email. And then I divided the chat into conversation using several criteria, such as greetings, farewells, time gap, and change of topic, etc. And they focused on conversation with at least one emoticon or emoji. I say also emoticon, even if my presentation is on emoji, but there were not many, many emoticons in my corpus. And I focused on the conversation which contained humor, different kind of humor, and I analyzed whether emoji contributed at different stages of humorous talk, such as to set the playing frame, showing understanding or appreciation, contributing to humor, or closing the play frame, and also analyze which emoji concretely were used. So I found that emoji are used to signal humor. Is not, it's like the very first emoticon, so it's a function they still have. And as we imagine, the face with tears of joy emoji was the most used emoji to signal humor, to signal that a message shouldn't be interpreted literally. But it was not the only one. Sometimes other faces, such as smileys, or as in this case, an embarrassed face should be used. In this case, for example, Enzo helped Angela and his son to do a schoolwork, and Enzo helped the kids a bit too much. And Angela said, "What do you think about your work?" So not the kids' work, but your work. And the message for he said, it's clear that he has done it by hand alone without help, which is not true because he has done all the work. And this astonished or embarrassed face is used to mark as a humorous statement. Emoji are also used as a response, and once again, the face with tears of joy was the most used emoji to mark, to represent laughter. It's the follow-up of the preceding anecdote. So the kids got an A+, so they are laughing at that. But other smileys as well are used to mark humor, grinning faces, simple smiling faces. The most frequent is face with tears of joy, but also other emoji, also other yellow faces are used. Sometimes I found that emoji were used to close the playing frame, and sometimes also to close the conversation without any farewell. Simply, the emoji were used alone and frequently repeated to show that participants got the joke, but they didn't want to engage further in the conversation or in the humor. Such in this case, if you have got a hunch about the Christmas lottery number, tell me please, and the interlocutor laughs and nothing more. What I also found, and I think it's not so frequent for the ancestors, so for emoticons, is that the emoji are used in joking way sometimes by themselves, so drawing in their pictorial nature. And in this case, the least frequent emoji are used. So, for example, this is the same example with some messages more, the same example of the first one. Ricardo is speaking about the date he had, and he said that the date was just pure and virginal, and her interlocutor answers, as I like them. And but it was not true. So she adds to face with tears of joy, and Ricardo keeps with this humorous talk, calling her Sister Alicia. And in this case, of course, humor is also conveyed verbally, because Sister Alicia is Britain, but he puts out also a baby angel emoji, and the following message also to praying hands, to emoji, to praying hands emoji, and in this case, in this function, the least frequent emoji are used. So I barely found in the corpus objects or food or any kinds of buildings or even flags. The most frequent emoji are faces, almost all yellow faces, and gesture. Sometimes the iconography of the party is also reused, such as the party popper or the dancer, but not really other emoji. The other 2,000 emoji that are available are not really used, but they are used this way in a humorous way by themselves, either playing with the verbal part or even alone. So, to sum up a bit my results, emoji are contributed in different ways to the performance of humor. They signal that are used to represent laughter, to close the brain frame, sometimes to close the conversation, and also as a humorous sign by themselves. And the emoji most related to humor is the face with tears of joy, but also other emoji are used. Above all, yellow faces, but in the case of what I have called multimodal humor, also less common emoji are used. So here I am. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Agnese, for your talk. Very interesting. We've got some time for questions. Anybody? Salvatore?
Thank you for your interesting talk. I give you 3 smiling emojis. Did you look at the number of emojis? So I saw that some people had 6 in a row, the same, or sometimes they had 4, they had 3, or they mixed them. Did you consider this factor?
Yes, I consider, not in this work, but in other works, I consider the repetitions of emoji, and similarly to the letter repetition analyzed by Paco. not the more emoji you put, the more intense is the sentiment. It's like emoji are frequently repeated 2 times or 3 times, but above 4 times it's not very frequent. And also, I found once an emoji repeated 27 times, and so I asked the informant what happened. It was a message composed only by emoji, and she didn't know, she didn't remember why she put 27 kissing faces to her mother. So sometimes emoji are used are repeated purposefully to intensify, but sometimes not, or above 4 emojis is not very important. What I found in relation to humor is that emoji used as laughter are frequently repeated, so in the same vein, similar to the interjection ha ha ha, which is frequently repeated more than 2 or 3 times. And also in the use of emoji just to close the pre-flame in the conversation, the emoji are frequently repeated. I don't know, I can't say they are repeated always 2 times or 3 times, but they are repeated.
Okay, thank you. More questions over there?
Well, hello. Thanks for your research. Very nice. My question is, you spoke about 90% of the people. I don't know if that was one of your basic points here. 90% of the people using WhatsApp use emoji. Am I right?
And on Instagram.
On Instagram or Facebook. Where did you?
On Instagram, 90% of the posts have emojis.
Yeah. What about WhatsApp? Because in my own opinion, like my own example, I never use emojis.
Mm-hmm.
And have you considered, because this is your research, have you considered the idea of why people use emojis and why other people don't use emojis at all? Because some people don't. I mean, might that have something to do with the amount of confidence or trust that you have with your interlocutor? Because, for example, when I'm trying to make myself clear with somebody that I don't know very much, I might use an emoji in order to make myself, understand. But with people that I don't need that, I don't use the emojis, I guess. But I don't know if I'm being very clear here. But
yes.
Yeah.
I don't have clear data about the incidence, the use of emoji on WhatsApp, because this data hasn't been released by WhatsApp. And also my corpus is not representative of the entire population, even in Spain, of the population of WhatsApp users, so I can't tell you how many posts, how many messages have emoji. In my corpus they were very frequent. I had the chance also to do a questionnaire, a survey to students, because this is based on my dissertation. For my dissertation, I did a survey, and sometimes I asked people. I asked people if they used emoji, and if not, why.
That's the interesting aspects of citing emojis. Why some people need to use emojis and why some people don't use them.
Yes.
And even if they are humorous, because whenever I talk with my friends or wherever, obviously there's some humorous utterances, but I never use emojis. And I know for sure that some of my friends don't either. They don't need those emojis. So there might be some significant correlation between trust, maybe, or familiarity, and I don't know, maybe that's just an idea that I leave there. Some correlation between trust or familiarity and the not use of emojis.
But in the I can tell only about what I already did. But it's of course an avenue for future research. The participants on my survey. There were very few users didn't use emoji and didn't like them, and most of them said the same as you, that I don't need them. People will get what I want to say, And also sometimes it was related a bit to creativity, because they found, some of these non-users of emoji found that it was not really creative to use an image which is pre-designed.
It's a little bit redundant even to try to put an image to a text that already has the text, the intention that you're trying to do, right? So, yeah.
And of course, in my corpus, I have the same informant, the chats from one informant with different interlocutors. And I found also differences, for example, writing to colleagues or writing with family members. The use of emoji was different.
That's super interesting. I think this is further research too, because this is a whole, whole world that we still have to dive deep into. But it's a very interesting thing that some people don't only use a way to express themselves. So depending on the interlocutor they're talking to, they will use emojis or they won't, right? Depending on who they're talking to. And also that has happened to me sometimes, you know.
And also use specific emoji with one interlocutor and not with others.
And not with another. Right. Yeah. Thank you very much.
More questions? Well, I have a question. I wanted to ask you, to what extent you think the emojis are dependent on the accompanying text to become humorous, or they have the capacity to be humorous on their own?
To fit in the 15 minutes, I couldn't put many examples, but I found examples of use of emoji in a various way by themselves, like putting animals.
Because normally, I think they connote an already attempted humorous text.
Yes,
no?
In most of the cases, yes. But sometimes there were also sequences of different emojis which were used
for the fun of it.
Yes, for the fun of it. Yes, but the text is still really important. So the context of the conversation is still
that's
important.
Predictable. Yeah. Okay, more questions? Yeah, over there.
I have a question. Do emojis and emoticons actually emote the state of mind of the user, of the sender? How far could we look at it in terms of their authenticity as to making justice to the current state of mind of the user? And also, could they be misleading for a recipient at any point?
I answer the first question before because I haven't understood the second one.
The mic is not switched on, I think so. Can anybody help? Yeah, it's working now.
Okay.
Yeah.
My question is, do emojis and emoticons actually emote the current state of mind of the user, of the sender? And how far could we look at it in terms of their authenticity as to making justification to the current state of mind of the user?
My research is mainly linguistics, and I think that the relation between emoji and state of mind, emotional reaction, and personality is more studied in the field of psychology, social psychology above all. So there are many studies better designed than mine that could answer this question. I didn't consider the state of mind of participant because I wasn't there when they typed the message. I received the corpus after. But they didn't know that I would retrieve the corpus, so it's an example of fresh, everyday talk. So they were told later, like the conversation would be analyzed, and so I couldn't consider which was really the state of mind. In my opinion and in my research. In my corpus, the function of emoji is frequently pragmatic. So it relies on the text to add the nuances or to specify, sometimes even to contradict what is written, but not a fresh representation of emotions. I know that with emoticons, some authors did research recording users while chatting. It was in the 90s, so the beginning of this century, so it was still the textual emoticons, and they later checked if people were smiling when they brought a smiling face, and it was not always so. So it's not. It's in that research, and as far as I know from my corpus, my research seems to suggest that they are not clearly related, even if adding an emoji is frequently signaling a lightened tone, a happy tone. Mm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bueno, buenas tardes a todos y muchísimas gracias, en primer lugar, a los organizadores de este congreso y especialmente a Leonor Ruiz Gurillo, a Esther Linares y, por supuesto, a Francisco Yuz por permitirme estar aquí esta tarde con ustedes. Bueno, yo voy a hablar sobre un tema que, desde mi punto de vista, se ha tratado bastante poco, y es el uso del humor en grupos de WhatsApp de personas con una edad ya elevada. ¿De acuerdo? Entonces, bueno, pues este sería un poco el esquema de la intervención. Vamos a ver un poco, bueno, pues lo que ha comentado antes Agnese sobre el uso de la multimodalidad y de los emojis en el WhatsApp. Pues vemos que efectivamente WhatsApp presenta múltiples funcionalidades que, bueno, aquí en este ejemplo pues pueden verse y que se han descrito ya anteriormente, pues como los emoticonos o los emojis de teclado, o incluso, como dicen los informantes del grupo de WhatsApp que yo voy a presentar, caritas sonrientes. También vemos que se han comentado los kaomojis, que son otro tipo de emojis que Agnese también lo ha comentado, que no están girados, sino que son en horizontal. También, por supuesto, tenemos las onomatopeyas o el paralenguaje, y tenemos los audios, tenemos los emojis, las caritas, que también las llaman así. Pero en este caso nosotros no vamos a prestar atención a estos elementos que acompañan al texto de WhatsApp, sino que vamos a prestar atención a todo lo que se puede enviar a través de WhatsApp, ¿no? Lo que, pues, en principio puedes enviar imágenes, vídeos, memes, stickers. Ahora los nuevos memojis, no sé si los conocen, que ya en la última actualización de los que utilizan iPhone ya se pueden configurar, que son emojis con la cara personalizada de cada usuario. Entonces, pues ya uno no solamente puede enviar una carita de color amarillo, sino que puede utilizar rasgos propios para precisamente mostrar todo el catálogo de marcas pragmáticas que ha comentado antes mi compañera. Todo este repertorio de elementos que se pueden utilizar a través de WhatsApp va a ir creciendo, por eso ahí están estos puntos suspensivos, y bueno, pues poco a poco todos vamos a poder ampliar nuestro repertorio. Y evidentemente, pues antes ha comentado mi compañera, la profesora Carmen Maíz, si alguien no utilizaba WhatsApp, realmente es difícil encontrar a alguien en que no haya utilizado o que no utilice WhatsApp, o si acaso, pues es porque lo ha dejado por otro sistema de mensajería instantánea, como puede ser Telegram. Y realmente es cierto que lo más reconocible de la mensajería de WhatsApp son los emojis, que han permeado al mundo offline. Podemos encontrar muchas referencias de WhatsApp. Ahí además aparecen no solamente pues los vasos que se regalan con esta no quería decir la marca, pero bueno, ya la conoce todo el mundo, sino también pues es una alfombra, cojines, hay bolsos, hay llaveros y hay incluso nombres de bares, como este que es un bar de Sevilla, de donde yo vengo, que se llama La Guasería, porque en Sevilla mandar WhatsApp se dice habitualmente guasear, ¿vale? Es la palabra que se utiliza de manera coloquial para mandar WhatsApp. Está todo el día guaseando, esa sería el término que utilizan las madres para quejarse de los hijos. ¿Qué tal? Bueno, pues tenemos el icono también de la caca con ojos, y incluso lo que hay en el medio, que es una bandeja en un bar que hace una especie de mesa en la que se insta a hablar directamente y no utilizar el WhatsApp. Entonces, bueno, pues vemos que la conversación digital a través de este tipo de servicio de mensajería instantánea se ha generalizado, pero cuando se habla de usuarios de WhatsApp se piensa siempre en personas de una edad joven hasta la edad contemporánea de cada uno, ¿no? Y sin embargo hay un grupo que está infrarrepresentado, que es el grupo de los seniors, jubilados, mayores, o incluso, como aparecen aquí, los abuelos de toda la vida. Este es un artículo de una revista que se llama Vice, no sé, yo siempre digo Vice, pero no sé si es por Miami Vice o no sé, pero el caso es que aquí se habla precisamente de que la franja de edad de personas mayores de 60 años, que aparecía también en la investigación de mi compañera Carmen Maiz, está creciendo y se están incorporando masivamente al uso de la mensajería instantánea. Y realmente vemos que la edad, independientemente de la formación académica e independientemente de las circunstancias, se está convirtiendo ahora mismo en un factor que puede ser analizado y que podemos ver diferencias entre el uso de WhatsApp en unos grupos y en otros. Quizá sus padres guarden de ustedes las primeras muestras de alfabetización, ¿no? Las primeras muestras de escritura. Mi madre las guarda, ¿no? Mi madre guarda esas fichas que hacíamos en el cole, en las que escribíamos y aprendíamos a escribir y se veía esa letra temblorosa. Bueno, pues a mí me hace ilusión guardar el primer WhatsApp de mi madre. Sí, que es este. No es enviado, no me lo envió a mí. Yo le expliqué cómo se hacía y entonces mi madre se lo mandó a mi hermana. Entonces, pues esta es un poco no sé si ustedes conocen cómo se reenvían los WhatsApps, los mensajes de las conversaciones de WhatsApp. Hay una función la que se puede exportar el texto a un correo electrónico, y entonces llega en formato TXT, que es como se puede ver aquí en la pantalla, y se pueden ver los emojis, pero los adjuntos, las imágenes, pues no aparecen incrustadas en el texto, sino que aparecen como en una carpeta como archivos aparte, ¿no? Entonces, por eso la imagen que mi hermana le manda para animar a mi madre a que utilice, ¿no? que se sirva para enviar, porque para eso es fundamentalmente, es una cosa de la que anima mucho a las personas de más de 60, incluso de 70, como en el caso de mi madre, a utilizar WhatsApp, que es las fotos de los hijos, las fotos de los nietos, y todo eso. Por eso era importante que mi madre supiera, que viera que las fotos se ven muy bien y tal. Bueno, pues ese es el WhatsApp, ese es el primer WhatsApp de mi madre. Y bueno, y ya pues hablando más ya en términos más académicos, pues en esta investigación que aquí presento, vamos a tomar como referencia el concepto de multimodalidad en WhatsApp, pues como la posibilidad de combinar diferentes artefactos de diferentes orígenes, de diferentes naturalezas. Vamos a ver cómo de manera, muy natural, aparece esta multimodalidad en muchas conversaciones. Vamos a ver cómo, en relación con el humor, pues hay una serie de artefactos también culturales, que son los memes, que sirven para como píldoras de humor, y que teniendo en cuenta que la actividad conversacional es una práctica insertada en un entorno digital, pues sirven un poco pues para llevar a cabo el continuo de la conversación, para animar un poco a la participación y para, pues efectivamente, transmitir humor, creatividad, etcétera. Sobre los memes, pues es cierto que todavía no hay muchas publicaciones al respecto, por lo tanto, pues estamos un poco yendo a la vez en el análisis de las muestras reales y la reflexión teórica sobre los mismos. Por tanto, vemos que un poco la idea del uso del humor en los grupos de WhatsApp es la de crear solidaridad, expresar la creatividad, como también se ha comentado anteriormente, compartir, servir de turnos de apoyo o de turnos de eco y, sobre todo, reforzar la identidad del grupo. ¿De acuerdo? Y eso es muy interesante porque, no sé si a ustedes les ocurre, pero sí se puede percibir cómo se generan el uso del humor en diferentes grupos va a crear una diferenciación entre los miembros del grupo y los miembros del endogrupo, ¿no? Un humor endogrupal del humor exogrupal, de gente que no entiende por qué se están riendo, porque ya se ha generado esa dinámica que comparten entre todos. La definición del humor, pues realmente es bastante escurridiza, bastante problemática, no se ha llegado a ningún acuerdo, aunque en esta investigación nosotros, bueno, pues hemos tomado la definición un poco de Holmes, que es muy vaga y que simplemente pues las emisiones que se identifican por el analista como divertidas o por los emisores o los receptores, ¿no? Algunos de los participantes, es decir, que simplemente cualquier elemento o cualquier pieza de la conversación que se considere como divertida, pues ya se considera humorística, ¿no? Sin más discusión sobre esto, ¿no? Entonces, teniendo en cuenta este marco teórico, el objetivo de la investigación que aquí presento es analizar cómo se expresa el humor en una conversación grupal de WhatsApp, si el humor procede de entornos analógicos o si es un humor que tiene unos rasgos diferenciados y que no se entiende fuera del entorno, si los usuarios son consumidores, es decir, simplemente distribuyen o son prosumidores, crean su propio humor, o si se construye de manera monológica o dialógica. Y todo eso teniendo en cuenta la variable edad que ya hemos comentado antes. Entonces, en cuanto a la metodología, esto por supuesto es un estudio que está ahora mismo en progreso, no es nada absolutamente cerrado, sino que está en sus comienzos y por lo tanto la aproximación no puede ser otra que etnográfica, marcadamente cualitativa y con una serie de cuestiones que todavía faltan por resolver y que tienen que ver con la representatividad de los datos. Hemos visto antes que han comentado la representatividad. Es muy difícil trabajar con datos que son privados y, por lo tanto, las cuestiones éticas hay que tenerlas en cuenta y, en este caso, pues se ha informado a los usuarios y, por supuesto, la identidad de los mismos se ha protegido en las muestras que aquí vamos a enseñar. Es un chat grupal con 22 participantes de más de 65 años. De hecho, ahora ya yo creo que tienen más de 70, casi todos. Y se han recogido las conversaciones desde del 27 de agosto de 2017 hasta el 5 de agosto de 2018, casi un año, en los cuales se han generado 181 conversaciones y lo que va a ser objeto de este estudio, 326 vídeos, 469 audios, 3.667 imágenes, incluso 4 archivos PDF. Se han mandado. Entonces, una primera clasificación de estos adjuntos que se han encontrado en las conversaciones tienen en cuenta el carácter, la morfología externa, ¿no? Teniendo en cuenta una investigación previa que también realizamos. Tenemos que se mandan chistes que son simplemente texto. En vez de copiar el texto, mandan directamente la fotografía con el texto del chiste. O son híbridos, que también tiene que ver con lo que se ha comentado antes, de cómo se lee primero la fotografía o primero el texto de la imagen, o simplemente icónicos. Claro, aquí se puede comentar brevemente varios de los temas sobre los que no voy a extenderme mucho, pero hay muchos chistes hablan sobre los efectos, consecuencias o pequeñas dificultades que tiene hacerse mayor, ¿no? Como por ejemplo el último de abajo, el del centro, que dice, a ver si ahora fallas, Paco, Yo no sé si ustedes ven, ahí hay una tubería que está pensada pues para que un señor pues no salpique, tal, bueno, pues, en fin. Y el de abajo a la derecha, que es solamente una fotografía, quizá no lo reconozcan, pero esas sábanas que están en la playa tienen el logo de, ¿lo reconocen? No, el Servicio Andaluz de Salud. Entonces, ¿eso qué significa? Pues que aquí ha habido una distracción de una sábana y entonces, pues, qué gente más aprovechada que, bueno, pues esto evidentemente a nivel textual tiene sus reacciones, ¿no? Pero simplemente como uso icónico del humor se puede dejar constancia de eso en, ya digo, usuarios mayores de 65 años, el corpus estudiado. Haciendo brevemente una recopilación de los resultados, vemos que la mayoría de recursos humorísticos son de carácter híbrido o verbal. ¿De acuerdo? O sea, fundamentalmente predominan los verbales o los híbridos, mezcla de verbal y imagen. Por supuesto, se puede ver los emojis y textos como jajajaja en secuencias reactivas, pero la mayor parte del humor está construido de manera monológica. Es decir, no hay un humor que continúe, sino es simplemente una intervención inicial y una reacción jajajaja o una reacción con un emoji. Por supuesto, la mayor parte de los usuarios, son consumidores, es decir, reenvían estos elementos y no son prosumidores. Veremos algunos ejemplos que digamos que son las excepciones que confirman la regla. Y, por supuesto, en cuanto al contenido, hay una tendencia fundamental a salvaguardar la imagen de los consumidores y de los, en general, de los usuarios o de los miembros del grupo. Por lo tanto, no se ve humor ni autodespreciativo ni despreciativo. Pero vamos a ver algunos ejemplos que son excepciones y que, bueno, pues ya han llamado la atención precisamente por eso. Bien, excepciones llamativas. Aquí se ve un poco, bueno, pues una foto que se manda besitos a todos y hay otra que dice qué bestia, bueno, estaban hablando de otro tema y la otra dice, bueno, pues vamos a emparejar a este con esta monada. Entonces, a esta intervención con esta imagen de este señor, pues otra persona responde y le contesta con otra imagen. Entonces, bueno, pues esto sería un ejemplo de humor dialógico que rompe un poco con la tendencia del monólogo que se ve en general en todo el corpus, ¿vale? En cuanto al uso de las usuarias, en este caso, de dos usuarias como fuentes de humor o de elementos humorísticos, pues aquí vemos, y también relacionándolo con la posible falta de experiencia en la tecnología digital, vemos que hay excepciones llamativas, como esta señora que ella misma se ha creado su avatar y se ha puesto en la ducha y es ella y dice, mira, ¿y esta qué me decís? ¿No es guapa también? Y entonces, pues, hombre, por favor, ¿cómo lo has hecho? Tal. Entonces ya le van preguntando cómo lo ha creado y se lo va explicando. Y la otra señora es simplemente que en la feria pues se ha puesto la cara en una, en esta y se ha hecho la foto y la ha mandado pues para hacer reír. ¿De acuerdo? Entonces, pues vemos que el humor en general no toma como referencia, porque busca salvaguardar la imagen, excepto en estos casos llamativos. Y, bueno, pues nada más. Por supuesto, esto es una breve cata de todo lo que hay en el corpus, que es un corpus bastante rico, bastante entretenido, bastante llamativo y curioso. Estas son las referencias para que si alguien, pues no creo que no se ve, pero bueno, si alguien tiene curiosidad, pues yo se la puedo pasar por texto. Y bueno, pues nada más. Muchísimas gracias por su atención.
Gracias, Olga, por tu paper, por tu ponencia. Tenemos bastante tiempo para preguntas. ¿Alguien quiere preguntar? ¿Aquí?
¿Solo has analizado esta franja de edad? ¿Has contemplado en otras? ¿O seleccionado por género? Porque no es lo mismo. Se lo está comentando. Se lo estaba.
No, es ahí. No.
Ahora
sí.
Sí. Y soy técnico sonido, qué vergüenza. Que si no has contemplado barajar otras franjas de edad y luego también seccionadas, porque no es lo mismo un grupo del gimnasio, no es lo mismo un grupo de chicos, porque si te enseño ya que algún grupo que tengo flipas de las fotos y lo que pasan, y me he intentado salir 20.000 veces y 20.000 veces me vuelven a meter. Y eso, porque no es lo mismo, pues eso, alguien de 60 y pico años, que me pasa con mi madre, si ves las mierdas que me mancha, digo, pero déjame.
Bueno, claro que sí. De hecho, este estudio se ha hecho una primera digamos, comparación entre un grupo de menos de 20, ¿vale?, en torno a 20 años, y este grupo, ¿no?, un poco por irnos a los extremos. Entonces, pues de 20añeros y 60añeros, 70añeros, para ver un poco, y realmente las diferencias son llamativas. Yo creo que cada uno de nosotros, como no pertenecemos a este grupo, podemos compararnos con grupos que, igual que has hecho, a los que pertenecemos, y vemos que realmente es un uso yo creo que es significativamente diferente, tanto del humor como de los formatos que se envían. O sea, este grupo es que todos los días son una media que estábamos viendo, una media de 20 fotos. Y audios. Es que se mandan audios en formato audio, chistes en formato audio. Es una cosa. Entonces, claro, esto es solamente una muestra, pero bueno. Hay un ritual, cada grupo tiene sus propios rituales conversacionales, y en este caso pues hay un ritual que es la primera persona que por la mañana se levanta, manda unos gallos con café, unos dibujos con unos gallos que ponen café, dice, encima que las levanto tengo que poner el café. Entonces hay personas que mandan el gallo y hay personas que mandan el audio de un gallo cacareando. Entonces, efectivamente, hay una serie de usos muy llamativos, y por lo menos a mí me llama la atención la cantidad de adjuntos que utilizan con una finalidad humorística, ya sea vídeos, audios. Los audios son, muy llamativos, sí, desde chistes hasta un cacareo para despertar a los demás miembros del grupo, y se utilizan mucho más adjuntos que elementos textuales. Bueno, en este caso son amigos. Entonces son amigos, parejas y personas que realmente no todos participan, pero bueno, eso siempre pasa. Y nosotros lo que vamos a intentar es hacer que la comparativa entre varios corpus sea lo más semejante posible, es decir, que la variable sea que sean amigos, que no sean grupos familiares, que no sean de muchas generaciones diferentes, sino que sean del rango de edad. Y entonces, claro, pues ahí van a salir cosas, yo creo que curiosas.
Creo que WhatsApp, bueno, no sé si está ya, pero había anunciado que a partir de ahora la inserción en un grupo iba a ser por invitación y tenías que contestar en 24 horas, y si no podían meterte en un grupo. No sé si...
Sí, ya está activa.
No sé si está activado eso.
Ya sí. Hace un par de días.
Porque eso de que me meten sin que yo lo quiera, yo creo que al final se estaba medio evitando eso, ¿no? Ya...
Claro, me parece muy bien. No, hace 2 días ya se ha anunciado. Sí,
tienes 24 horas para aceptar la invitación a unirte, con lo cual, en cierto modo, evitas...
Perdón.
Sí.
Por la edad a la que hace referencia, a mí me ha surgido la duda de si tienen competencia digital, es decir, se mandaban normalmente, pues no sé, utilizan el correo electrónico o algo así, o directamente, porque sí que, no sé, me resulta muy llamativo, ¿no? Cómo esa edad, pues apenas utilizaba, pues eso, el correo y demás, y ahora están introduciéndose mucho en WhatsApp. Que realmente ya muchas notificaciones que antes hacíamos nosotros por correo electrónico ya lo hacemos por WhatsApp, ¿no? Y entonces, pues, supongo que otra de los factores a tener en cuenta es si tienen competencia digital anteriormente o no.
Nosotros cuando, claro, aprovechamos que este grupo se reúne una vez al año para comer todos juntos, entonces aprovechamos para infiltrarnos en esa comida, y la comida de los amigos de mis padres, y pedirle el permiso, por supuesto, para utilizar estos datos y pasarle una pequeña encuesta. Entonces hay de todo. El nivel de estudios es muy variado. Hay personas que tienen que hicieron una carrera universitaria, otros que se quedaron en el bachillerato y otros que no tienen estudios superiores. Y lo curioso es que han dado el salto directamente al móvil, es decir, que muchos de ellos no han cogido un ordenador en su vida. Y el salto ha sido directamente al móvil. Por eso es por lo que quizá el uso pues va... Pero van aprendiendo, y de hecho a lo largo de ese año, que eso, bueno, el corpus se le puede sacar muchísimo partido, a lo largo de ese año alguien del grupo aprende a responder a un mensaje anidando la respuesta a la pregunta. Entonces se lo explica con muchísima paciencia a todos los demás del grupo. Entonces todos empiezan a probar. Mira, hasta que a alguno le sale. Y es muy bonito ver cómo van aprendiendo y que desde el principio, por ejemplo, desde el primer mensaje, por poner el ejemplo de mi madre, ¿no? Desde el primero que manda hasta ya ver cómo se desenvuelve en un grupo, en una conversación que ya ha mandado hasta sus stickers y ya manda notas de audio, en fin, que van aprendiendo y es muy bonito ver cómo se produce ese salto y cómo ellos se emocionan pues cada vez que dominan algo nuevo.
¿Más preguntas ahí?
A pesar de que no tienen competencia digital, muchos de ellos.
Muchas gracias por la presentación, muy interesante. A mí me hace pensar en esto del rango de edades, que los mayores tienen, digamos, menos capacidad de respuesta, digamos, o variabilidad de respuestas, ¿no? Con respecto a qué pueden usar dentro de las alternativas que hay. Pero yo he percibido en los chats que tengo con personas mayores, que las personas mayores sienten que deben decir algo, o sea, que deben responder. Por ejemplo, si les preguntan ¿conoces un veterinario? ¿Conoces un médico? Los jóvenes no contestan si no conocen. En cambio, los adultos dicen, no conozco, es decir, un montón de nos, porque creen que deben responder.
Sí, los saludos mañaneros, por ejemplo, buenos días.
Y entonces pienso si en el humor, de repente la respuesta a un chiste puede salir solo por una mera cortesía, que no sea realmente un signo de que el humor realmente haya funcionado, sino que simplemente sea una respuesta de cortesía.
Eso, como ha comentado mi compañera, la profesora Carmen Maiz, es difícil de saber, porque incluso preguntándoselo habría que hacer un estudio empírico aparte y ponerles pues lo que ha presentado ella en su investigación, proponerle una serie de ejemplos y ver si a ellos les resulta gracioso o no. Entonces, nunca se sabe, porque realmente la cortesía está en la conversación que no es digital, ¿no? También tú te ríes muchas veces de compromiso. Pues.
¿Cuánto tiempo se llevó a hacer esta investigación, a preguntar a la gente? ¿A cuánta gente como que preguntaste?
Da igual, sigue.
No, que ¿a cuánta gente le entrevistaste y cuánto tiempo duró para realizar esta recopilación?
Bueno, pues como se ve un poco en la presentación, el estudio, o sea, la recopilación del corpus se hizo durante casi un año. O sea, fue desde agosto de 2017, finales de agosto de 2017, hasta principios de agosto de 2018. Y la recopilación se hizo solamente con un grupo de WhatsApp formado por 22 personas, todas ellas mayores de 65 años en aquel momento, y se hizo no... Porque muchas veces lo que hacen es que te invitan al grupo y entonces el investigador pues se convierte en investigador participante y no en este caso. En este caso yo preferí quedarme de observadora y lo que hice fue pedirle a mi madre, que es una de miembros del grupo, que me reenviara, pues cuando ella viera conveniente, el chat que se había generado. Entonces mi madre dice, bueno, pues yo como tengo el móvil que cada poco se me peta, pues cuando yo vea que ella me avisa de que ya no le caben más cosas, yo te reenvío la conversación y automáticamente la borro. Entonces, pues cada 2 días, pues claro, con ese ritmo de vídeos y con ese ritmo de fotos, pues cada 2 días, cada 2 días, en función por ejemplo, en Navidad, pues bueno, aquello, pues me encontraba yo el envío de la carpeta con el chat, el de formato texto y los adjuntos. Entonces, pues todo eso se ha recopilado, se ha unido, se ha catalogado y pues se ha empezado a analizar. Entonces, lo que yo he presentado aquí es como una primera cata de todo lo que hay, que es muy interesante. Así que, de momento, la recopilación del corpus ya ha sido un año. Terminó en agosto del año pasado. Y a partir de agosto del año pasado, pues ha sido ¿qué hacemos con esto? ¿No? Por ejemplo, una de las cuestiones que le han preguntado antes a mi compañera Agnese, que mi compañera Agnese ha comentado, es lo de la palabra del año, ¿no? El emoji, la palabra del año. Es que el emoji no se considera una palabra. Si nosotros utilizamos un sistema de corpus, una herramienta de análisis de corpus, los emojis se los salta. Entonces hay cuestiones metodológicas que a veces, por más que nosotros queramos automatizarlo, nos resultan imposibles, porque no tenemos la herramienta.
Leonor.
Bueno, yo quería preguntarte, Olga, pues precisamente por algo que estabas comentando ahora.
Gracias. Sí, que es cómo os habéis infiltrado en ese grupo y desde el punto de vista metodológico, porque claro, conforme ibas explicándolo, aunque ahora lo has explicado un poco más, pues aquí cabría tener en cuenta la paradoja del observador de William Labov, precisamente porque si vosotras participáis en el grupo, estáis influyendo, porque ya sabemos lo que estás buscando y no sé, y si es tu madre la que estaba en el grupo infiltrada, no sé, pues esta cuestión, ¿no? Como si ha podido influir de algún modo en el resultado del corpus o no.
Pues yo creo que no, porque de hecho mi madre todavía piensa que yo leo las conversaciones. Ya cuando dejó de enviármela, ella se piensa que yo sigo leyendo lo que se publica, lo que publican ella y sus amigos. Dice, bueno, pues como el otro día comentamos, digo, mamá, yo ya no me mandan nada. Pero realmente esto surgió por una cuestión muchas veces pues casual, ¿no? Yo veía como mi madre todas las noches hacía el mismo ritual de borrar. Y yo, mamá, ¿por qué borra? Dice, no, porque estoy borrando todos los WhatsApp, porque se me llena el móvil y ya no puedo, se me bloquea y tal. Entonces yo pensé, digo, bueno, qué pena que se pierda todo eso, ¿no? Y digo, ¿y si me lo manda? Entonces le enseñé a mandármelo. Digo, mira, tú antes de borrarlo, me lo mandas de esta forma, tal. Y yo creo que ella se sintió como aliviada, ¿no? Decir, bueno, yo lo borro, pero si en algún momento necesito algo, pues yo ya tengo como la copia de seguridad por ahí, que le pregunto a mi hija, oye, ¿quién dijo no sé qué tal? Y creo que que en ese sentido creo que mi madre funcionó de manera pragmática, ¿no? Decir, bueno, pues yo lo borro, sigo con mis cosas, pero tengo la copia de seguridad esa que está guardando mi hija, no sé para qué, y no sé si eso contesta a tu pregunta.
Muy bien, no hay tiempo para más. Muchas gracias, Olga.
Muchas gracias.